I've been your best friend since we were 7 years old, Truman. Only way you and I ever made it through school was by cheating off each other's test papers. They were identical. But I always felt safe knowing that. Because whatever the answer was, we were right together and we were wrong together. Remember that time I stayed up with you all night in your tent because you wanted to play North Pole and I got pneumonia? You remember that? You were out of school for about a month. You're the closest thing I ever had to a brother, Truman.
But, well, the point is, I'd gladly walk in front of traffic for you.
The point is, I would gladly step in front of traffic for you, Truman.
And the last thing I'd ever do is lie to you.
And the last thing that I would ever do is lie to you. I mean, think about it, Truman. If everybody is in on it, I'd have to be in on it too. I'm not in on it, Truman, because there is no it.
All right, guys, how are you? Hope you guys doing fine. I was watching this Truman Show. We are truly living a Truman Show with all those actors playing their parts, and a lot of people talking about this movie. Actually, it's time for me to rewatch it because a lot of people are realizing that we are in a Truman Show. So welcome to the show, guys. So many good people here. Yuko is in the house. Tammy, Crystal, 26 mile per hour. Michigan, we got Tennessee in the house. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all for being here. May the peace and the love of Christ be with you and your family today. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, so I was just listening to this podcast where the guy he researched about, well, we already know that all presidents are related. Okay, there was a young girl who did this research decades ago, but this guy he investigated the education department. Hello, everyone who is joining the show now. Thank you so much. Can't see without my reading glasses. So he researched about all the presidents, and he found out no, none of the presidents ever, you know, has sent their children to public schools. Never happened. Hello, Blue Star. They don't send their kids to public school. None of the presidents, not even the founder of the education department or the educational system, all of them homeschooled their children. If you remember, even Stephen Jobs, he said that he didn't, when he was alive, he said he would not give an iPad to his children. So did Bill Gates. He said he would not let his children, play with the internet and stuff like that. So it reminds me a couple of years ago, I watched also a CEO. I think he was, I'm not going to say the product, it was one of the cereals that we eat for breakfast. And he said he will not eat himself, he will not eat that. So recently we saw a guy, a McDonald's CEO, supposedly eating his own McDonald's, but we don't know if that's even real or not, you know? But anyway, my point is like the school system is for the cattle. It's for us, for the sheeple, you know. And I was just watching Professor Dave. He's trying to be on TikTok now because so many TikTokers have been exposing NASA's lies and everything. So they're trying to counter that by bringing some new Globers, not new, but at least to the platform. And it's pitiful to see him, still trying to, brainwash people with this whole globe nonsense. And, this is, I used to say, I say to my friends here, to our students, that if the globe was real, they wouldn't teach in the favelas, the favelas in Rio, the slums, those places where all the poorest people live. But one thing they have to get this education where they teach the globe to them. So if the globe was real, they would not be teaching this stuff to the poorest, because they don't teach anything for the poorest to, like a banking system, all the stuff, the medication, the synthetic medicines. They don't teach this stuff, and they don't. Everything that's not good, they teach to the people. So the school system is it's like breeding animals that you pour that food for them that's only made for animals. That's the school system today. And if you guys have seen all those compilations that I've been putting out like every day of people realizing that we don't live on a globe, a lot of them, as you see here, this week every day I put out a new video and they've been getting lots of views. I don't think they're happy. 2,000, 3,000 views. Some of them are over 7,000, approaching 8,000 views. A lot of Globers that realize that we don't live on a spinning ball. Now, this I must tell you that when we are dealing with people who are disintoxicating, because this whole thing is a detox process. Some of them I fall back, some of them I relapse and go back to the globe. So I did see one lady, she put out a video some time ago, and I even featured her video, and she kind of relapsed, I think she felt guilty because everybody was calling her a flat earther. And I think, like when you idolize something like NASA, and then you speak against it, and then you feel like guilty. You have NASA as a god for you, as a deity. And then I think that was her reaction. She put out another video, almost like asking for forgiveness for daring to say something against NASA. And she criticized flat Earth and the firmament and everything. I was very disappointed. But again, this is a detox process. Some of them will relapse back because a lifetime of indoctrination, it's very hard, to let it go. And another thing, that I will say, like I'm under a strike right now because one of those Globers not only got back, like he repented for making videos against the globe. He didn't like it that I added his 30 seconds video. So he took it to YouTube, and so I got a strike. I removed his video. I emailed him. I said, okay, you were a voice, a big voice, because when you're screaming all by yourself, you don't get heard as loud as if a whole bunch of people, like a choir or a whole stadium full of people are shouting. Many people hear that. It's very beautiful when you're watching like a soccer game and they are playing the national anthem, and then you hear all the fans singing. It's very beautiful. So I told him, I thought you were on, waking up, but he was not. Not only he gave me a strike, but I asked him to retract, if he could remove the strike, And he kind of blackmailed me. He said, well, if you give me certain amounts of dollars, I can do that for you. So I'm not gonna do it. So if my channel gets taken down, don't forget I have backup channels and I will use them if necessary. So welcome to the show, you guys who are joining now, and we are gonna talk about this central casting stuff. And let me start with the Bible verse. My favorite Bible verse, of course, Hebrews 1 and 2. King James Version Bible, God at sundry times and in divers manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken to us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things. So there is no communication between the Father and us except through Jesus Christ. He is the priest, and he offered his body as a sacrifice for us. So he is the mediator between God and us. So someone sent me this really cool at Google. This is the celestial navigation. Use a flat. You consider Earth to be flat. They call it the equatorial. The equatorial. I forgot the name. Anyway, they consider it to be flat. Nobody's living on top of the ball anymore. Everybody's here, the equator. That's how they get elevation angles. So that was this week. Google, they kind of, let this one slip for the public. Shout out to my friend Dave from Oregon for sending me this. So there is a beef going on between Trump and the Pope. Trump has been calling him a leftist, while the Pope is uh, telling the Iranians to arm themselves. But the problem is that this whole Iranian and the Israelis, they are all in the same team. They are actually helping the Israelis because now they are fighting Hezbollah in Lebanon and taking land. That's what they're doing. So they're all working together. Remember, guys, this is a Truman Show. These people are actors. Another bad news here for Catholics. A lot of people criticize the Pope for visiting a mosque and kneeling down, to Allah. So many Catholics got really angry at him for doing this. And not only him, British people are very upset because seems like King Charles III has converted to Islam because he is like King Charles III, the UK's most pro-Islam monarch. So the head of the, English, the Anglican Church. I mean, this is crazy. This is all big, big central casting. So here we have Freemasons, our flag on the moon. Freemasons on the moon. They celebrate it, and they don't hide it. You see here, 3030 Council, Supreme 3030 Council, 10th anniversary of flag on the moon. You see here, they don't hide that stuff. It's out there. So Globers don't think there is a conspiracy. They are blind, totally blind. So last week, if you guys remember, I went over the NASA document. It's a report on Artemis, and there are 128 pages. I read some of them. There are eight reference of the 33. So somebody put that on an image. They forgot one though. So Artemis 2 mission by the numbers, 3.3 million pounds of thrust. You see 33 right there. 330 cubic feet of living space, 33 right there. 3.3 meters capsule height. Artemis in gematria 33. 33,000 pounds of thrust in space. The rocket's 33 feet tall. Each astronaut could carry 3.3 pounds of belongings, 3.3 pounds of water for thrusters. They were all wearing this Omega X33 watch, all of them. And one thing he left it out, but I mentioned last week, Orion's original designs require 33 welds to create the pressure vessel. So it should be called Artemis 33, not Artemis 2. So it's right there. It's on our face, for us all to see. They display, they don't hide that stuff. And it should be called, Artemis 33. So we have another actor here. Hi, another central casting actor. He infiltrated 2015. He showed his colors in 2018 with Behind the Curve, and then again 2024. So I'm reading this comment here. Somebody left last week. Please, new materials needs to be up for the beginning of the videos. Please, kids and Makeup Dave already at least get together with a moderator to resolve all the difference and indifference for once and for all. He's more of an ally than an enemy. So my response to this guy was he is controlled opposition. That was the only line I replied to him. He's controlled opposition, infiltrated just as his body, Jaron Campanella here. So it's foolish to trust these people because uh, they will betray Flat Earth just like they did before. So why wait? You got to expose all those guys. So more psyop, if you remember, you know, this whole Charlie Kirk stuff, the movie, this movie was back like in the 80s. I forgot the movie here where the politician named Charlie was shot in the neck. We have this movie here, same things about politicians who got shot in the neck, all intercasting. They're telling us exactly what they're doing. We have a whole bunch of central casting here with the whole Challenger explosion, whole bunch of actors. We have this guy here also related to Charlie Kirk, the Tyler, the Valhalla house in New Zealand. And then supposedly the guy posed with the same picture, the same Valhalla where Kash Patel mentioned to Charlie Kirk. They would see each other in Valhalla. So this place. So a whole bunch of central casting, We have Candace Owens, explore talent, acting, modeling, profile, actress, central casting. We have Lauren Boebert, you know, politician, Melissa Caron. We have Candace Owens. And we have this lady here, the DoorDash grandma. That is funny. This is so funny because she appears herself here as a Republican, crisis actors. She shows up at the White House as a grandma, DoorDash grandma. She was on Fox News as a pilot. So this is funny, It's so. I mean, they don't hide, I don't know how people can't see it. It's all the same person, unless we have like all those doppelgangers. It's all the same person. So it's all central casting, the same actress. She plays the role of a Republican, you know, uh, a Republican activist, and then a DoorDash grandma delivering McDonald's to the White House, and then here a pilot. You know, I mean, this is it's almost like a joke. It's and then we have these guys here. Now I don't know. I'm not gonna, of course, I'm not gonna, I cannot play this stuff because, copyright reasons, all that stuff. So I'm gonna just show the pictures. I don't think actually this guy is the astronaut. I watched the video. It's called Fallout, season 1, episode 1. It's called The End. I watch it. I don't really think he is the Glover guy, the astronaut. He looks very similar. Yes, look. But I don't know. It's up to you. You guys judge. I look, unless he gains some weight. He does look a lot. Some people say definitely is him. I don't know because here he looks skinnier, Here he looks with the NASA uniform, 2026 now, he looks fatter. But the ears look alike, the ears look alike, I don't know. But I'm inclined to say that maybe this is not the same person. Some people say, yeah, it is the same person, the same actor. You know, I don't know. I will let you guys to decide that. I watched them. I found this guy, the actor in the movie. I don't know how long ago this movie was made, but perhaps if it's been a while, he looks skinnier here. Here he looks more like he gained some weight. Okay, but I don't know. I have you guys to decide that if both are the same. But they said they were central castings anyway. You know, so I'll catch up with the chat now. Let me just play this central casting video. This one right here. Take a listen to this one.
Earth, it was all the blackness around it. Earth was just this lifeboat hanging undisturbingly in the universe. Uh-oh. So I may have not learned, I know I haven't learned everything that this journey has yet to teach me. But there's one new thing I know, and that is planet Earth, you are a crew. Yeah. Thank you.
I am terribly humbled by this experience. I forever, secretly, have felt that I do not deserve to be in the position of leading the team that I lead.
Adam, tell us about the landing.
All right, Greg. I can't tell you too much about it. I mean, it looks good. I'm being a little flip. In short, it looked extremely clean. We touched down in conditions that were on the more benign side of our nominal expectation. By the way, I want to preface everything. This is preliminary data scooped with the sieve in the cacophony of the control room during the celebration, right? And largely by my good friend Miguel San Martin, who's somewhere out there, I hope. Our powered flight appears to have been excellent. If my good friend Ben Toma is in the house, is Ben in the house?
I have to ask you, what kind of file type, can you tell us about the image file type and compression that was used to send this very important couple of thumbnails back from Mars?
Yes, unfortunately, I absolutely cannot. If Justin Mackey is in the room, or there's a couple other people on the team who'd be able to whip that out quickly, but I couldn't tell you. Sorry.
The unmanned spaceflight website has coordinates for the landing that go down to something like 5 decimal points. I just wanted to confirm with you that those that you do have those sort of coordinates. And am I reading those coordinates correctly when I see that it looks as though you've landed within 500 meters of the skirt around the mountain? That, I mean, you're really very close to the mountain at the closer end in the landing ellipse, and possibly within striking distance of the phyllosilicate trench.
I can't confirm that. My estimate, I'm looking for somebody, yes, there's somebody in the audience here who has that in the tip of their noggin. We should have soon that estimate.
Terrible, 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 terrible acting. This guy, terrible acting. But Globers won't see it, Globers just will not realize, these guys are central casting, And I understand. There is a good comment here. The lie is so big, people's heads explode. Yes, it is. If you realize, like a lot of those TikTokers, some people are like going crazy because of they realized now. But some people, like like this guy, he 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 repented for saying anything against NASA. So a Central Cast call. They want their actors back on set for the alien invasion. Yes, we're going to be talking about the disclosure. Towards the second half of the show, they will need a lot of central casting actors to push that stuff. Uh, they didn't like school, were actually rebelling against indoctrination. Yeah, luckily some of people who skipped the school did the good thing. That's the good thing. Yeah, I'm working on a new intro song. All right, I'm gonna work. I didn't have time to do it for today. I wanted so bad, but I just had a crazy week. So, but for next week, I'll have another intro with the Shield song. All right. So you saw this Adams guy. I mean, he couldn't answer a single question there. If there's somebody here, I'm looking for somebody in the audience that can answer that. And I saw one of the videos of him dancing. Actually, he's an actor. I saw black and white footage of him just like acting and dancing, like tap dancing, and I can't find that video. I tried to find, I couldn't find it, but there's a video of him tap dancing, and actor, central casting. So we are surrounded by, our reality is not even our reality, it's just like, it's a Truman Show. It's definitely a Truman Show. We live on the Truman Show. So I want you to look at this. I uploaded this video in one of the TikTok compilation of this congressman. So take a listen on what he says.
And there's little Lauren Boebert. Hey, Lauren.
Hi,
Say hey,
Bertie.
everybody.
And then they go, you get a random traffic stop.
And then,
Oh, it's Bertie.
anyway,
Bertie.
it's late.
Bertie's
Hey, guys. It's Bertie. Everybody say hey. NASA. Hey, man, they film all that stuff in a Hollywood studio. We really didn't go to the moon. Anyway, folks, I'm tired, so we'll be back next week figuring it out. Thank y'all for sitting here.
Green light. Load clear, load clear.
Is he central casting? He's central casting. Okay, we'd call it central casting if you were doing a movie for location.
Yeah, central. There's a bunch of actors, and this Republican congressman, and the other lady who he greeted, I just showed her picture here. She was in that hearing on the UFOs or UAPs. They now call UAPs. And when they disclosed that aliens were in the ocean, inside under the ocean. And she was the one say, well, now we know Earth is flat, aliens are under the ocean, but pigeons are robots, something like that. Okay, but they laugh at it because they know it's all made in Hollywood, and they are, it's all preparing for this fake alien invasion that's coming. Yeah, this intercast call. Yeah, that's the comment that I just read it. So showing more that I have to show here for you guys. This when they enter the atmosphere, right? This is them, supposedly inside this capsule that was burning. Now let me remove the comment so you guys will. All right. So these are them, like inside this capsule, burning 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, 3,000 degrees Celsius. Okay, this is supposed, and they themselves, you see how burned and charred this thing is. It's not just the bottom as they claimed. The whole thing was burned as they show. But one thing we cannot understand, I cannot understand, this stuff is made of rubber. How didn't this melt? Because it wasn't with them right there. It was to be deployed. It was on the outer side of their insulation here. It was on top. Because supposedly they were insulated inside. But this stuff was on top. And how this rubber here did not melt and has like the Baphomet symbol. It's even weird they have this Baphomet symbol here, It's like the Baphomet, the horns here. So how come this rubber did not melt? 10 minutes, 3,000 degrees Celsius, 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, it did not melt, Because it wasn't inside here where they were. It was here on top, supposedly, And I don't know, I've seen different pictures. I've seen this one here where the sticker did not suffer any damage, not burned at all, People are even making jokes, say, oh, I need to cover my car with this, or my house with this sticker here, because I know it will not burn. Because it burns the whole thing here, but this ink, whatever ink or the stickers they used, did not burn, So a lot of inconsistencies here, many things going on. And they are parading now. They are showing this on a truck riding on the streets. So people, it's another way of brainwashing, like showing this stuff. So I'm gonna play our first song related to this, related to the whole Artemis 33 actually. So let's listen to this song. And now, if I'm gonna add this to the playlist. Okay, I just got it last night. I didn't have time to add to the playlist. I will do it after the show. Let's join this first song here about the Artemis 2.
Step right up to the greatest show in the sky, where the budgets are high, but the science is a lie. They threw a tin can at the ceiling of glass, hoping the remnant would just let it pass. But the green screen slipped and it painted her face. Lost in the studio, lost in space. The little AR toy lost its tracking red dot, just a digital prop in a desperate plot. She stood on the stage, deer in the headlights, blind, whispered, uh-oh.
How was space?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I thought you all knew that it's all fake.
And forgot her lines. They name every ship for a demon of old. Apollo the destroyer, just doing what he's told. Orion the hunter, casting shadows on the wall. And Artemis the goddess, waiting for the fall. They branded with idols, they branded with pride, but they can't even render a window outside. Oh, welcome to the circus, enjoy the ride, where nobody films from the window inside. You got a phone in your pocket, but nothing to show, just a Hollywood set and a studio glow. The capsule is roasted from a fiery flight, but the NASA sticker is perfectly white. It's a heavy metal drop from an airplane door as the actors splash the devil horns down on the shore. Now why do they fake it? Just look at their chests. The UN wears the flat earth to pass their own tests. 1,000 years back, Al Baruni drew the plane, and Gleason made the map before they hijacked the brain. Old Admiral Byrd saw the lands past the snow. He saw the greater earth where the frozen winds blow. So they panicked in the 50s, they signed the ice pact and built a fake universe to cover the fact. They name every ship for a demon of old. Apollo the destroyer, just doing what he's told. Orion the hunter, casting shadows on the wall. And Artemis the goddess, waiting for the fall. They brand it with idols, they brand it with pride, but they can't even render a window outside. Oh, welcome to the circus, enjoy the ride, where nobody films from the shore. You can't pierce the firmament, you can't leave the dome. The sun is just a local fire circling our home. They fake the endless vacuum, they fake the rocket's flight to keep you looking upwards and blinded to the light. The 200 fallen are running the stage, desperate for worship at the end of the age. But the king is watching, he sees every string, and the puppets will burn when the true angels sing.
How was space? Uh-oh, I thought you all knew that it's all fake.
Oh, welcome to the circus. Enjoy the ride where nobody films from the window inside. You got a phone in your pocket, but nothing to show. Just a Hollywood set and a studio glow. Capsule is roasted from a fiery flight, but the NASA sticker is perfectly white. It's a heavy metal drop from an airplane door as the actors flash the devil horns down on the shore. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Forgot the script. Water finds its level. Welcome to 1959.
All right, guys, I'm gonna have this song added to the playlist. Okay, I was sent last night, and I didn't have time to do it, but I'll do it after the show with the original channel. Everything's gonna be there. Okay, check it later. Great song, and I'll put it together. I'll do everything that we've been talking about. Like the guys. One thing I wonder, like they were gone for 10 days allegedly, and what kind of battery had that capsule, which is the size of a minivan? Not a minivan, a van, size of a van. Because of a battery, kept them warm while in space at 250 degrees in cold, like the below zero, something like that. So what kind of battery lasted for 10 days, keeping the whole capsule warm, and then all that equipment and charging their phones and iPads, and then keep them cool while coming back, by being prevented from baking inside the capsule while entering the atmosphere. A lot of make believe there, a lot of fantasy, Disney fantasy, and of course, like I used to believe that stuff because I had no idea about flat Earth. But some people today, they have no excuse. We are presenting them the truth, and they still choose to believe the lie. So some people today, they don't have any excuse at all. About that. All right, guys. Sorry about the comments here. Yeah, I got a new. I'm gonna play later today. I'll play new DJ Newman song. I got one for today. So welcome to the show, brother. All right, so on that, okay, let me just play this again. All right, so this image right here. Okay, so if this is our insulation, the thickness of the insulation, where were the parachutes and those floaties, the rubber? How come they did not melt? And what kind of battery is that lasted for 10 days, charging all the equipment? It's very crazy to believe this all, But again, that's how Satan deceives us. They deceive the nations. That's one thing is connected to the other, the educational system, TV programs, the journalists, they are paid, and actors, central casting. And yeah, I would say that some of people really believe that stuff. We all grew up in the same school system. So I would say that some of people really believe that stuff. But some of them are just paid actors, And especially with all the whole politician stuff. Many of those politicians are just incapable of doing politics. They're just following orders, following orders. That's all they do. I do want to talk more now. I want to talk about the lyricism. Why? Well, because I did get comments, and I want to reply to some of these comments. So let's get started again by my favorite Bible verse. God, who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken to us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things. So remember, there is no communication between God and man except through Jesus Christ. Zero communication. There's no contact. So these people who are claiming that they're going to build a third temple there, where are they getting this order from? It's not from the Father. So it's not going to come to happen. Okay, it's not going to come to happen. So look back, it all started in the 1500s with the heliocentrism in the 1500s, and humanism right there. We had the Renaissance, the rebirth of Satan, because Renaissance in French means rebirth. Pretty much the rebirth of Satan. We have Illuminism in the 1700s, with this whole earthquake stuff. And I believe that's really when they found Satan, So this all result from heliocentrism, okay? So when you learn communism, socialism, Marxism, capitalism, feminism, globalism, environmentalism, transgenderism, dispensationalism are all created to benefit Zionism. All this stuff came along during the 1800s. So you see how the progress of the deception, okay? Started with the globe, humanism spread with the Renaissance. We had Illuminism in the 1700s, where in fact, when they started to convert the flat earth math into globe, that's when they started. And then in the 1800s, you have all this stuff, communism, socialism, Marxism, capitalism, feminism, globalism, environmentalism, transgenderism, dispensationalism with the Scofield Bible and John Darby, all to benefit another ism called Zionism. So you must see the deception there. My brothers and sisters in Christ who come defending this whole futurism and 30 temple stuff, no. We are according to what the Bible says. Jesus said those things were going to happen to those people in their lifetime, not ours. Okay, not ours. And you can just check. This is Chorazin and Bethsaida. Those cities were destroyed just like the Lord told them. Woe unto thee, Chorazin, woe unto thee, Bethsaida. For if the mighty works which were done in you had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon at the day of judgment than for you. So the day of judgment, it came to them, they were destroyed, everything was destroyed. And that's Jerusalem. This is really the rubbles of the temple, not that place where they pray, not that place. So I got this comment here. This guy said, no, the millennium reign was not in the past. We are looking at the tribulations now. The tribulation already happened. Explain why we still have stars and islands. Read your Bible. So I asked this guy back, do you read your Bible? So I want to ask back this question. I've been asking these questions. No dispensationalist answer me. I've been asking for several weeks, During a future millennial kingdom, where will the stars be? If you guys claim, okay, I still see the stars, so does it mean that after the Millennium Kingdom there will be no more stars in the sky? If all the stars will fall to Earth, how will the years be counted? Because we use the stars to count the years. How will we even know 1,000 years will be passed if we have no stars in the sky? Wouldn't it be harder for Satan to deceive the nations if there is no star in the sky? That's a comment by Blue Star, great point she made. Okay, let's say that after the millennium, if there's no stars in the sky, people will know, according to this interpretation. So it would be harder for Satan to uh, deceive the nation. So my opinion today, yeah, the stars fell in that region. That region, there where was destroyed. Not all the stars in the skies will fall. It's gonna be in that region, or was in there on that region. Will there be school books with lessons designed to explain to the people that there used to be stars in the sky? So how will that be after during this millennium kingdom in the future? They don't answer me this question. And can anyone be 100% sure the layout of the continents today is the same as in the time of Jesus? Because I have told you guys my idea is that this Pangea happened during the return of Jesus in 70 AD. That's why Paul says that the gospel had been preached all over. He says in Colossians and also in Romans that the gospel had been preached to all creatures under the heavens. He said that. So it's done. The gospel was preached and the end came. Okay, so we are post millennium. That's where we are right now. All right, so let me share this because this has to do with this whole disclosure. This whole disclosure thing that's coming. Where is it? Here. Okay, let's look at this whole disclosure thing. So shout out to David again, Dave from Oregon. He always sends me some great article. So Trump says first releases of UFO documents will begin very, very soon, right? So this whole disclosure stuff, they've been talking, 2 weeks ago I played a video say, oh, that was April's Fool. No, it's not. They've been constantly talking about this stuff for the past 2 years, pushing really, really hard. Okay, so I actually downloaded the video. Thanks, Dave, because I went there. I've searched for the video. I found it. So let's watch it here. That's the disclosure right here.
I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Okay, so you haven't been to Area 51 yet?
Not yet.
Some
not
people
yet.
say they keep the UFOs in Ohio. They might,
yeah, Hangar 18, Hangar 18, right?
I've
heard that as well, but I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet.
Okay, all right. Well, we're waiting for it. We saw aliens.gov.
You know me.
We saw aliens.gov.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway, but that's a longer discussion.
As you remember, I recently directed the Secretary of War. How good is Pete Hegseth doing, by the way? To begin releasing government files relating to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. And I figured this was a good crowd because I know you people, you're really into that. I don't know if I am, but so I'm pleased to report today. I thought I'd save it for this crowd because you're a little bit out there, a little bit. That this process is well underway and we found many very interesting documents, I must say. And the first releases will begin very, very soon.
All right, guys, saw J.D. Vance saying that he believes aliens are really demons. That's what we have been saying. I hope one day he will say that, yeah, the earth is flat, because that's what we have been saying as well. So, it's very hard because these politicians, they are placed in places to follow a narrative, whoever gives them power, so they gotta follow that specific narrative, but maybe he slipped, those aliens are demons. They're not coming from the blackness of space because there's no such thing, And then Trump saying that, yeah, they are working on maybe this disclosure, So I think this whole Project Blue Beam is we are getting closer and closer to be present, to witness whatever they have in store. So if you guys remember all those, remember the drones? Like nobody knew where the drones were coming from, and they were actually coming from under the sea. So the whole thing of coming from under the sea, the deception. Because I think these demons they really come from hell, from the bottomless pit, from below the ground. That's what I believe. And just to recap, this is also about this whole disclosure. And this was put together. I did play this I think it was last year. So let's recap this, very important.
Today, I want to state clearly that this is not science fiction or creating speculation. This is about national security, government accountability, and the American people's right to the truth.
That truth remains hidden, classified and silenced by fear, retaliation, stigma, and confusion.
Democracy depends on transparency, and transparency often relies on the courage of individuals willing to risk their careers, reputations, and in some cases, their personal safety to tell the truth.
Today, military, government, and intelligence officials took that risk.
The truth, the whole truth, and the nothing but the truth.
In momentous testimony before U.S. Congress.
The narrative has changed. It would be much better if you pulled up in Winnebagos and were wearing hats.
Under oath and under pressure.
Being here today, if I say the wrong word, technically I can be charged with espionage. Espionage is a death penalty.
As the leaders of the free world investigate encounters out of this world.
What do we know? What don't we know? And why in a free society are we being told so little?
A bipartisan congressional hearing into UAPs, or unidentified aerial phenomena, the new government name for UFOs.
And while some people think of flying saucers when they hear these terms, it is vital that we focus on the real world impact of UAPs on critical infrastructure, civilian safety, and national security.
There was plenty of evidence to scrutinize.
I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see exactly what it does.
A congressman publicly releasing defense footage he claims shows a US military drone firing a Hellfire missile at a high-speed orb off the coast of Yemen.
That's a Hellfire missile smacking into that UFO and just bounced right off.
Hitting the object, but somehow not destroying it.
And it kept going.
It kept going, and it looks like the debris was taken with it.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Other testimony hit closer to home. A former military police officer detailing an incident at Vandenberg Air Force Base in California.
Home to the National Missile Defense Project.
Witnessed by 5 officers.
Chaos ensued over the radio as the object approached rapidly. I heard my friends screaming, "It's coming right at us, it's coming right for us, and now it's right here." A massive triangular craft, larger than a football field, that hovered silently for about 45 seconds over their entry control point before shooting away at impossible speed.
Intelligence specialist Dylan Borland saw something similar at his base in Langley, Virginia.
I can't tell you if it's active camouflage. I can't tell you if it appeared around the light, but I can tell you that it was a white light and then it was a triangle.
For active Navy officer Alex Wiggins, UAPs looked very different. He testified and provided video of his encounter aboard the USS Jackson.
A self-luminous, tic-tac-shaped object emerged from the ocean before linking up with 3 other similar objects. What I observed and what our crew recorded was not consistent with conventional aircraft or drones.
The witnesses high-ranking and high-profile, but it's the audience that's significant. US lawmakers from both sides of the aisle taking the matter seriously, demanding disclosure from their own government.
The government has something and they...
All right, so a whole bunch of accounts there. They've been pushing this stuff for a while, and seems like 2026 will be the year. They are pushing this stuff, and June, July. Some people push to June, July. They are going to push forward their plans, for a fake alien invasion or something, which leads me to believe this is really has to do with the North Pole, the New Jerusalem. So we're going to be talking that in just a minute. Let me just address some comments here. My brother in Christ, Zigzag Static. There are still mountains and islands. So I think you having things mixed up, because I think on the new Earth things will be different. Not during the millennium. Those things are not gonna be during the millennial kingdom. There will be mountain, rivers, oceans, whatever. Not. It's the new Earth that all things are made new. Okay, and every mountain will crumble and every island depart. So I need you to look at the originals, because I've looked at the originals. It doesn't really say that islands, that the original Greek is not island. The word, it says the coast. The coast. The coast. So that's why I think the land was. I have displayed here. I may even try to find here. I have a Little Season library, and I think I do. So I'm going to display here what I think is going on. Okay. And I heard this once, that's the thing. We sometimes don't give credit to, some of the people. They tell us something and we don't choose not to believe. Where is it? Right here. And some people say, well, when Christ was here, the land masses were, the distribution was different. Everything changed in 70 AD. And we saw the whole, what's the name of the volcanoes. Never, there used to be no volcanoes before. So I think that when Paul claims, not claim, he said the gospel was preached under every creature under heaven. That's what we had. We had this Pangea during that time. And then what happened is in 70 AD, everything departed, just like the Bible says. The coasts, they were set apart. There's no island. It says the coast, not the original. So this whole thing happened in 70 AD. So I urge you, brother, we please play. I played the whole video. I've been talking about Little Season for several months since last year. But research about the darkest day in history, the 18 months when the sun went dark. Okay, no, we don't learn this stuff in school. Seminars don't teach this. I never learned this in Sunday school. Okay, but we had 18 months of darkness, just like it was described in Revelation 6. It described it right there. So I understand your position, just like when we first hear about flat Earth, we resist because we have been indoctrinated. And I had been indoctrinated as well, dispensationalism. I love that stuff. I displayed here several books that I used to read and charts, end of the times charts. No, what's being pushed by propaganda, it's definitely not the truth. When you have 23 movies made by Hollywood talking about the Antichrist, Third Temple, tribulation in the future, that already is a red flag. And then you have hundreds of, perhaps thousands of books that has a globe on the cover and claim to tell us about the future, like future, the Antichrist, the 30th Temple, all that stuff. No, you gotta think it twice before believing. Now, like we have our eyes opened. I don't believe the seminars at all. Most of the Protestants are Freemasons, not people. I'm not talking about the layperson, not the member of the church, but the leaders. A lot of them, I would say 60% at least, are Freemasons. The people behind, I tell them about in Brazil, like all four missionaries from all four major denominations, Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, and Assembly of God. In the late 1800s, early 1900s, the missionaries in Brazil, they were Freemasons. That's documented, okay? The Bible Society of Brazil, the Biblical Society of Brazil, Freemasons. So you gotta think twice before believing this whole dispensationalism stuff, because it's all another ism to benefit Zionism. Okay, that's what it is. All right. So I have rejected dispensationalism, and I cannot tell you what to do. It's your own mind. But I rejected that because to accept dispensationalism, you gotta call Jesus Christ a liar, because he said to Caiaphas, "You will see the Son of Man coming from, with the clouds." And he said, "Some who are here will not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds." So he spoke to the people in that generation, not to us. And everything came to pass exactly. Chorazin was destroyed. Bethsaida was destroyed. Jerusalem, Rome, everything was destroyed. Most likely the 1/3 of the stars fell over that region and destroyed everything. Right. All right, so let me play another song before we move on. We've got to talk more. There's a few more stuff to talk about. But I want to play a little season song here by my friend, Rick. Shout out to you, Rick Hinckley. Let me see. Is this one right here? This one.
It's not what you don't know. It starts when you're just a type, learning life from a screen you got. Cartoons of space and dinosaurs before they send you out the door. To a school full of scripted lines where truth is buried behind the signs. They hide the king, the lord of all, with polished lies in every hall. A cowboy preacher used to say, it's not what you don't know, it's what you know that ain't so, that brings you down along the way. Our minds get stuck in shifting sand, but we were made to make a stand. We need the rock, the cornerstone, to know we're never all alone. It's for lack of knowledge we're destroyed, too proud to bend, too proud to see. It all started with that famous tree. Hungry folk, gospel find, price inspired. As we grow with muddled minds, they shape the truth for their design. They teach us what they want us to be, blind to the change we cannot see. They laugh and mock in plain daylight, while hiding truth right in our sight. The movies whisper facts and clues, while the news spins tales to you. A cowboy preacher used to say, it's not what you don't know, it's what you know that ain't so, that brings you down along the way. Our minds get stuck in shifting land, but we were made to make a stand. We need the rock, the cornerstone, to know we're never all alone. It's for lack of knowledge we're destroyed, too proud to bend, too proud to see. It all started with that famous tree. Now you're grown, the head of the pace, but the lies still stare you in the face. People struggling just to get by, while profits soar on every slide. Casinos flash, the banks still grin, even churches buy into the spin. Leaders lie and sell us out with smiling teeth and whispered doubt. And if you wonder why this season feels like there's no sense or reason, you're standing in the dragon's den, it's Satan's little time again. A cowboy preacher used to say, it's not what you don't know, it's what you know that ain't so. That things are down along the way. Our minds get stuck in shifting sand, but we were made to make a stand. We need the rock, the cornerstone, to know we're never all alone. If for lack of knowledge we're destroyed, too proud to bear, too blind to see, it all started with that cursed tree.
It's not what you know, it's what you don't know. No, it's not what you don't know, it's what you know that ain't so, something like that. And I gotta highlight this comment here because we know the lands moved because even they admitted. It's only a question of how or when, because they say it was millions of years ago. We know it wasn't millions of years ago. 1,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago, something like that. Not millions, but they tell us that the land masses moved. It was at one time they were all together, and they moved away from each other, right? They tell us. So it did happen. Not at the time when they say it happened. It wasn't like millions of years ago. It was definitely when Jesus returned. Everything changed. I play the volcanoes. Not the volcano. Vesuvius, Mount Vesuvius, when it exploded, was the mountain that fell into the sea. I played the video here because this animation was made by people who are not even Christians. They just made an animation of Mount Vesuvius exploding and falling into the sea, and all the people were watching, just like is described in Revelation. So yes, those things already happened. They're not written to us for our time. We are past that. So what they are doing now, the psychopaths of this world, they are taking the book of Revelation and they are using as a play script, as a script, So don't expect, they are making things happen artificially, but not everything there will happen because, the God will not be mocked. There will not be a third temple. To believe in dispensationalism, you gotta say that the 70 weeks of Daniel had paused. It never paused. Jesus said in Mike 1:15, the time is fulfilled, right? So shout out to all my friends joining in now. Some people, Canada, Saskatchewan here is in the house. Okay, I forgot to, yeah, lightning. Okay, Saskatchewan. It's from Canada, so shout out. All right, so talk a little bit more about the little season. And I got I guess one more slide here. Yes, that's the important part that I want to talk. So David was, from Oregon. He sent me this link. And this is what it's all about right here, which I believe. So 3i Atlas is now back in the news. They are talking about this 3i Atlas. Okay. Scientists say a dangerous alien ship is heading toward the Earth will arrive this year. Mysterious objects called potentially catastrophic. Right? They're talking about this thing sometimes change direction, and they say, oh, it's an alien ship because it changed direction. If it was natural, it would not be changing direction, right? So my opinion, I have given my opinion before, that this is the New Jerusalem they are tracking, and it's going to land right there in the middle, in the center of the Earth, on the North Pole. And that's why the United States wants Greenland, and he also mentioned Iceland, and you have the Russians here and the Europeans, and I think the Danish will be fighting for another piece of land here, somewhere here. They are all surrounding the camp of the saints. Okay, that's my opinion. I expressed it a couple of weeks ago. We see there, Republican. Tim Burchett says names, dates, peoples, and locations set to be revealed in UFO briefings. Right? It's coming. I'm not going to play this right now. Where is it? Play later. Okay, this one here. So in Colossians 1:6, we say, which is common to you as it is in all the world, and bring forth fruit, and that also you, since the day you heard of it, the gospel which was preached to every creature which is under heaven, whereof I, Paul, am made a minister. In Romans 10:18, their sound went into all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world. Romans 16:26, when now is made manifest, made known to all nations for the obedience of faith. So the gospel was preached all over the earth during this time. In the end came the end, 70 AD, and the lands, the geographic, the coasts were set apart, everything were divided. So it all happened in 7 AD. So we are having now just more fakery. You got to be careful with these pastors pushing dispensationalism. I'm talking about this guy in Brazil. He's a pastor. He built a church. He dresses like a rabbi or something, and he built a church that looks like the Temple of Solomon. And he, everything except Christianity, Jesus Christ. He talks a lot of stuff except about salvation, Jesus Christ. You got to be careful with all that stuff, it's really we are truly in Satan's little season. No other explanation to that, because you see all these deceptions. And I want to show you guys a video. This guy, he is, I haven't seen him lately. I don't know if he's still making content or not, but he found an old map where there are a lot of places, ports named Peter or Paul, and he shows that these are the places where they went to preach the gospel. They were selected to preach the gospel to the Gentiles. And I'm going to play right now. Very interesting. I'm trying to find this specific map, haven't been able to. So I'm uploading here to the website, should be available in a few minutes. So there are several points. Of course, all those cities, they change names. Now many of those places have new names. But take a listen to this.
Let's look at this map that's in the Library of Congress. You can see this is North America, where I'm at, 1768. Alaska goes way out into the Pacific. And then this would be the northern part of Russia. And we're going to look at this peninsula here. So here's the peninsula, and you can see this area here, the name of this place, which I'm not going to try and pronounce, but it says, or the port of St. Peter and St. Paul. So here we have in northern Russia a peninsula that has a port named after St. Peter and St. Paul. Also note that there are many ship routes on this map. They go up north and they go down here out into the Pacific. And if you continue following these ship routes out into the Pacific, you'll see that there are islands, St. Abraham, St. Theodore, St. Stephen. Over there on what we would call Alaska, you have a mountain called Mount St. John, and we're going to continue to follow this ship route. And here are those two ship routes, and they have a name. Course of the Ship of St. Paul and Course of the Ship of St. Peter. Very interesting that the Library of Congress has a map that shows the missionary journey of St. Peter and Paul leaving from northern Russia, and heading towards America. And here they are, the course of St. Peter and St. Paul heading over to what is modern-day Canada. So many will say that that doesn't prove anything. Well, this map doesn't prove anything either. These maps are printed and placed in the back of Bibles, but that is placed there by man. So you have to ask yourself one question. Why have you never seen those other maps before so that you could make an informed decision? Here's another map from 1758 showing the northern part of America, Alaska extending way out here into the Pacific, and this peninsula in northern Russia, and you can see the ship routes here. And here's the peninsula, and it's in another language, but you can still see Port St. Pierre and St. Paul. And here are the ship routes, St. Pierre or St. Peter and St. Paul, again going over to the northern part of North America. Here's another map, 1776, North America, showing this really large body of water up in Canada that we do not see today, and then this peninsula in the northern part of Russia. And here is the port again, Port St. Pierre or St. Peter and St. Paul. And that piece of land that extended way out into the Pacific, you can see now is disappearing, and the ship routes names have changed on this map. Here's another map, 1784, and the land that was extending way out here into the Pacific is gone. You'll see a few islands, but again, the peninsula here. And here it is, the port of St. Pierre, St. Peter, and St. Paul. And you can follow the ship routes out into the Pacific. And here are the routes of St. Peter and the one for St. Paul. And the last map is from 1785, and it's actually of this port area, and we're going to take a look a lot closer. And here it is, and you can see what it says, St. Peter and St. Paul's Harbor, and it gives the latitude and longitude of this place. So again, we have maps showing that St. Peter and Paul sailed from northern Russia.
Isn't that great? Perhaps during the Millennium Kingdom, they were traveling, to all those lands. Very interesting stuff. There's a lot of things being hidden from us, and they are giving us, manufactured, history. So we know history is a lie, especially after the 1700s. That's why those maps were hidden from us. Much of the history you don't know. You go to school, you get out of school, you don't learn anything, nothing on that. The seminaries don't teach that stuff. They are pushing this dispensationalism stuff. This is, in my opinion, pure, to me, it's garbage. What they're teaching today. I like, my daughters go to the Assembly of God. They're good people there, but it's kind of brainwashing, they're pushing this futurism stuff. I want to play a song by DJ New Moon. Okay, this is a new song. DJ New Moon, I hope this is the song that you had told me. So let's listen to DJ New Moon right now.
Signals flicker on the glass. All the stars just waiting for us to ask. Gravity's a shadow that won't last. Heaven is the feeling moving fast. Lost in the wires, but I know what I see. Heaven is closer, it's taking the lead. Out past the stories, I finally breathe. Truth in my chest, and I feel it so deep. Space is a curtain only in your mind. Chasing color shapes you never find. Looking up, searching for a sign. Space is big, but heaven is real. Space is big, but heaven is real. Space is big, but heaven is real.
All right, great video by DJ New Moon there. Thanks, DJ New Moon. Space is only our mind, you know. All of us are like that. One time we lived in, was, you know, inside our minds, but, you know, thank God we got rid of that. All right. So that's my take on the, you know, I've tried to answer those questions about the little season. I think you guys, just like me, you know, like just like all of us with the globe, you know. When I was much younger, I made fun of a guy who told me the moon landing was fake. But when I matured more, you know, toward my 50s, start looking at the stuff and, you know, questioning things, and then you realize you live in a lie. So this whole idea of future third temple, you know, this is one of those isms created to benefit Zionism. You know, dispensationalism is just like Marxism, humanism, heliocentrism, and all that stuff. So I understand a lot of you guys are really attached to that, call me names, but, you know, you got to be patient, just like the Glober, you know. The lady Glober that I was talking about at the beginning, I think she regretted cussing NASA. She went back and she apologized. And then the other guy who even attacked me, he even gave me a strike, you know. So we sometimes when we talk about those things, we get attacked a lot, you know. But I am searching for the truth, and I think the biggest deception besides flat earth is the millennial kingdom that has been hidden from us, and they do everything they can to hide it, you know. They destroy with their wars, they hide the books, they burn the books, they hide the lock them up, you know, manuscripts, maps, and they give us a false, you know, completely false reality. We live in a Truman Show, you know. I had one more video that I want to play. This is ridiculous. You see, there was no time delay between those astronauts 230,000 miles away and Houston. All right, take a listen to this one.
And there on your screen, you're currently seeing a live look inside the cabin of the Orion spacecraft.
Integrity Houston, we are 3 minutes out from an on-time start, and we have adjusted the fan speed. We'll take a thumbs up if you're happy with it. Copy, thumbs up. Superlative thumbs up. And we have adjusted the fan speed. We'll take a thumbs up if you're happy with it. Copy, thumbs up. Superlative thumbs up. Thumbs up if you're happy with it. Copy, thumbs up. Superlative thumbs up.
All right, so imagine in space, there's no noise, noise is not transmitted in space. The radio waves, whatever. There's no direction, there's no north and south and east and west in space. The guys are, going at 25,000 miles per hour. What kind of Wi-Fi do they have there? And they get all this instantly, the reaction is instantly, and there's no time delay at all. And, so you see the construct that we live in, we live in this Truman Show, everything is a lie, and it's just pushed down our throat. So for you guys, who criticize me about the little season, remember the dispensationalism, futurism is being pushed almost by the mainstream. You see how CBN, all those so-called Christian networks that has got time on TV, they push this stuff really hard. Why? Yeah, why? Okay. So I want to share with you my website, guys, my channel. Don't know how long it's going to be there because I'm under strike now. So if something happens, you can find me on my backup channels. But anyway, I'm putting out lots of those videos about the Artemis, and I heard now TikTok is starting to crack down on those videos. So I'm glad I still got some left for this week. I'm still gonna upload every day a different video. Not much left, but I think I got enough for this week to have a video out every day. And it's going to start to slow down because TikTok is cracking down on people uploading videos about the Artemis mission. They are calling it misinformation. But check them out. And if you want to support the channel, you can either visit the store, if you can, get a map, t-shirt, a hat, or something. Give one as a present to people. Anything you can do if you want to support the channel, or you can become a Patreon. I have a Patreon there. So anyway, I think we talked for about an hour and 35 minutes, I guess. So I appreciate all of you being here, guys, and I look forward to being here again next weekend. We don't know what's going to happen. Every week is different. We might have the disclosure coming up to the next few days or next few months. We don't know. But we know that whatever the media will be pushing, all the networks will be pushing, it's not the truth. It's propaganda. And it has to do with the deception that we are now doing this Satan's little season. So I appreciate you guys for being here today. Thanks, everyone. Please leave your comments. I will reply. I'm sorry I couldn't keep up with the chat, but I will reply to the comments during the week. All right. Thank you so much for being here. May the Lord bless each and every one of you. Christ is King. He reigns forever. Christ is King. Okay. So I'm really happy to be here with you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you. Tammy, George, Yuko, the Jenny Moon, all of you, true Christians, true Christian who's here, all of you guys, thank you so much. Appreciate. Crystal, Flat Earth Nurse, may the Lord bless each one of you. and we'll see each other again next week. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Wonderful, magical, celestial light, fantastical, mystical, wonderful sight. Belgian Swiss physicist Auguste Piccard, 1931, first to reach for the stars, was the first to explore the air view stratospherius, a scientist curious to see what was there. An aluminium black ball on a helium balloon with photos and instruments sailed towards the moon, rose in just half an hour, 52,000 feet, 10 miles of depth pressure, up a dead drop in heat and cold, but disproving gravity. Wonderful, mystical, beautiful sight, flat line separation of black from blue light, a world run by deceivers, false make-believers, hiding in shadows, stealing our light. Mystical, fluorescent light, wonderful, magical, awesome, yes, stealing our light. Wonderful, let there be light, supernatural, eternal, supernatural. Up we go, higher than rainbows, higher than mountains, above cumulonimbus, higher than air, high level horizon, 360 around us, back right round behind us, any height that you dare. The sun and the moon both revolve above around us, to forever short time past intelligently there. You'll never beat us, you'll never defeat us, no more you deceive us, we keep through you like air. Kipper and Picard were the first ever known to reach up there. Divine luminescent light, mystical, wonderful, celestial light. So what was their eternal testimony? What did they report back to humanity? Said it seemed like a flat disk far as eyes can see, with an upturned edge fading into infinity. A mystical, ethereal, celestial sight, a divine creation, a clockwork of light, designed hid by deceivers and false make-believers, still cowering in shadows, still fearing our light. Here we go, higher than Everest, higher than airplanes, above zero cumulus, higher than air, a level horizon, 360 around us, no motion beneath us, no spinning road there. Stars on the firmament, time is all around us, to forever short time past geometrically there. You'll never beat us, you'll never defeat us, forever beneath us, we see through you like air. Mystic, sun-illumined light, fantastical, magical, we see through you like air. Magical, angels of light, beautiful, wonderful, celestial light. The first to see truth when they reach for the stars, explorers and physicists, Kipper and Picard. Never you'll defeat us, forever beneath us, we see through you like air.